Hi, and welcome back to The Geeky Boomer. I am Pixel Pia, your host. In today's episode, I want to talk about something that really fascinates me, and that is artificial intelligence, or as you may call it, AI. If the phrase artificial intelligence make you think about things like robots or supercomputers that will take over the world, you're not alone. But that is the Hollywood version. In preparation for today's episode, I have learned quite a lot about how it all started. AI has become a part of our daily lives, but the reason I think so many talk about AI today is the addition of things like multi-language models like ChatGPT and the addition to AI everywhere online. So what exactly is AI? In its simplest form, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially when it comes to computer systems. Think of it as trying to teach a machine to mimic the human brain's functions, like learning, problem solving, and understanding language. AI has been quietly revolutionizing everything from the way we shop or the way we search the internet to how doctors diagnose diseases and even how we drive our cars. In today's episode, I want to take you on a journey that will take us from the birth of AI in the 1950s all the way to the cutting edge innovations we're seeing today. We will talk about how AI is already making a difference in our world. We will debunk some popular myths, and we will explore what the future might look like when it comes to the use of AI. But don't worry, I will try and do this as simple as possible. So, if this sounds like something you might be interested in, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and keep on listening and watching. We need to travel back to the mid 20th century. Picture this. Rock and roll is just beginning to strum its first chords. The television is becoming a household staple. And in the realm of academia, a group of mathematicians and scientists is dreaming of a future where machines could behave like humans. Artificial intelligence, or AI, as a field was born during a summer workshop at Dartmouth College in 1956. This event is widely regarded as the birthplace of AI, as it brought together leading thinkers who were intrigued by the idea of machine intelligence. From this moment on, the race to create an intelligent machine was on. The Dartmouth workshop held in the summer of 1956, 2 years before I was born, at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, was organized by John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Nathaniel Rochester, and Claude Shannon. These researchers were all prominent figures in what would become the field of AI. John McCarthy in particular is often credited with coining the term artificial intelligence. The workshop's proposal stated, "We propose that a 2-month 10-man study of artificial intelligence be carried out during the summer of 1956 at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. The study is to proceed on the basis of the conjecture that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can in principle be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. The idea was to explore topics like problem solving, language understanding, learning, and perception, which they believed could be replicated in a machine. The workshop lasted for 2 months, and while it didn't achieve the ambitious goal of creating a thinking machine, it was a crucial gathering of like-minded researchers and a pivotal moment in solidifying AI as a legitimate field of study. Some of the participants in the workshop went on to becoming leading figures in AI, contributing to the development of the field in significant ways. For example, Marvin Minsky co-founded the MIT Media Lab, which became a significant center for AI research. This workshop marked the beginning of AI as a field on its own, setting the stage for the advances that would follow in the coming decades. In the following decades, AI saw its highs and its lows. The 60s and 70s were marked by enthusiasm and significant funding, leading to some early successes like Eliza, a simple chatbot that could mimic human conversation, and Shrewdlu, SHRDLU, a program that could understand and execute commands in a simple virtual world. Eliza was a computer program developed at the MIT Artificial Intelligence Laboratory in the mid-1960s by Joseph Weizenbaum. The most famous version of Eliza simulated a psychotherapist by using a pattern matching and substitution methodology. This approach gave users an illusion that the computer program understood their conversation. However, Eliza didn't have any ability to understand the content of an interaction. It just identified keywords and produced responses based on a script. Despite its simplicity, Eliza was one of the first programs that demonstrated the potential of a computer-human interaction, and it laid the groundwork for the development of future chatbots and virtual assistants. Shrewdlu, on the other hand, was developed by Terry Winograd at MIT around 1968 to 1970. Shrewdlu was designed to understand and respond to commands in natural language about the simple world of geometric blocks. In this blocks world, Shrewdlu could answer questions, carry out commands, and even ask clarifying questions to ambiguous commands. Despite being limited to its block world, Shrewdlu was groundbreaking in its ability to understand natural language and led to many advances in natural language processing and understanding. Both Eliza and Shrewdlu played significant roles in the history of AI, contributing to the development of natural language processing and the understanding of human-computer interaction. However, as with all big dreams, the path wasn't smooth. The initial excitement led to high expectations, and when AI couldn't deliver on these promises quickly enough, interests, and funding dried up. This period, known as the AI winter, stretched throughout the 70s and 80s. But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, AI experienced a resurgence in the 90s and early 2000s. The catalyst? An explosion of digital data and advances in computing power. AI research shifted from trying to create a human-like intelligence to using data to make predictions. This is when machine learning, a subset of AI, took off. The shift towards machine learning marked an important evolution in the field of AI. Machine learning as a subset of AI is the science of getting computers to learn and act like humans do, but improving their learning over time autonomously by feeding them data and information in the form of observations and real-world interactions. Historically, early AI research in the 1950s and 60s focused on rule-based systems. Programmers would painstakingly code knowledge into systems and use logical reasoning to achieve AI tasks. However, these systems were brittle and often failed when presented with situations that weren't pre-programmed. During the 1980s and 90s, AI researchers began to incorporate learning into their systems, an era often referred to as the knowledge-based system era. This was an important shift, but the systems of this era often still relied heavily on human-provided knowledge. The modern emphasis on machine learning began to take root in the 1990s. Machine learning algorithms use statistics to find patterns in massive amount of data. This data can include numbers, words, images, clicks, anything that can be digitally stored. It's a process that automatic or learned as opposed to being explicitly programmed by a human. This was a significant shift as it allowed computers to adapt to new data independently, improving their performance over time. Key to this shift was the ability of large amounts of digital data and increases in computing power. The growth of the internet provided vast amounts of data that machine learning algorithms could learn from. Meanwhile, advances in computer hardware and software made it possible to process this data more efficiently. The emphasis on machine learning has led to significant advances in the field of AI, allowing systems to achieve tasks that were previously thought to be decades away, such as image recognition, natural language understanding, and gameplay. This is the era of AI we're currently in, and it's led to creations of technologies that many of us use every day. Fast forward to today, and we are in the midst of what some call the AI spring, thanks to advances in an area of machine learning called deep learning. AI is more capable than ever before. Deep learning allows computers to learn from experience and understand the world in terms of hierarchy of concepts, much like we humans do. From the idea that sparked in the 1950s, AI has come a long way. It's no longer just an academic curiosity, but a tool that shapes industries, society, and our daily lives. And who knows where the next leap forward might take us. So let's take a look at how this fascinating technology has seeped into our everyday life. Let's bring things a little closer to home. How is AI impacting your life right now? You might be surprised. When you woke up in the morning, did you ask a smart speaker for the weather forecast? Or maybe you asked Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant to play your favorite wake up playlist? That is AI in action. Listening to your voice commands, understanding them, and responding accurately. Then perhaps you checked your email and your spam filter had neatly tucked away all those annoying junk mails. Another thank you note to AI. When you hopped onto social media, you might have noticed that the posts or ads you see seem eerily relevant to your interests. That's not magic. That's AI algorithms learning from your online behavior to curate content tailored to you. Had to drive somewhere? If you used a navigation app like Google Maps or Waze, AI was at work again, analyzing real time data to predict traffic and suggest the fastest route. Or maybe you had the chance to ride in or at least see one of those self driving cars. Yep, that's AI behind the wheel. And have you noticed how streaming platforms like Netflix or Spotify suggest shows, movies, or songs that are often just what you were in the mood for? Once again, that's AI learning from your past choices to recommend what you might like next. But it's not just about convenience and entertainment. AI is also at work in critical areas like healthcare, where it's helping doctors diagnose diseases early and accurately, or in finance, where it's guiding investment strategies. So you see, AI is far from being an abstract concept or a futuristic fantasy. It's here, it's now, and it's seamlessly woven into our everyday life, making things easier, more personalized, and even saving lives. Now we've seen how AI nudges our daily routines, but let's widen the lens a little bit. How is AI making waves in the broader world, solving big problems and making a real difference? Let's look at a few stories that might just change the way you think about AI. Let's start with healthcare. Picture a small hospital in a rural area, miles away from a major city. They're struggling with diagnosing patients quickly due to the lack of specialist doctors. Enter AI. They begin using an AI based tool that can read and interpret medical scans, helping to identify diseases like cancer at an early stage. Suddenly, they are able to diagnose patients faster and more accurately, saving lives in the process. Or consider disaster management. When a hurricane or a wildfire strikes, every second counts in responding effectively. AI algorithms can now analyze weather data, satellite images, and other information to predict the path of these disasters, helping authorities make quicker data-informed decisions about evacuations and resource deployment. And it's not just about these big, serious issues. AI is also sparking creativity in the art world. Have you heard about AI-generated art? A piece called Portrait of Edmond de Bellamy, created by an AI, was auctioned off for a whopping $432,500 at Christie's. Who would have thought machines could become artists? These stories just scratches the surface of how AI is changing the world for individuals, communities, and entire industries. So the next time you hear AI, remember, it's not just about asking Siri for a weather update or getting movie recommendations on Netflix. It's about reshaping our world in ways we couldn't have imagined just a few years ago. As we've seen so far, AI has an immense power to transform and help. But let's be real, it can also be a bit scary. There are a lot of myths and misconceptions out there about AI, often fueled by sensational headlines or Hollywood blockbusters. So let's take a moment to separate fact from fiction. First up, one of the most common myths: AI is going to take over the world. This might make for a thrilling movie plot, but in reality, AI is a tool that's designed and controlled by humans. It can't think or make decisions independently. It simply processes data and learns based on the parameters we set. The concept of AI taking over the world is a common theme in science fiction, but it is a significant departure from the reality of current AI technology. AI systems are tools that operate under human control and are not capable of independent thought or decision making. There are several safeguards in place to ensure that AI systems operate as intended. Human oversight. If an AI system starts to behave unexpectedly, humans can intervene to adjust the system's operation or even shut it down. Limited scope. AI systems are designed to perform specific tasks. An AI that's trained to recognize images can't suddenly decide to start controlling a power grid. AI systems lack the general intelligence needed to step outside their designated tasks. Lack of consciousness and desire. AI systems don't have wants, needs, or desires. They don't have consciousness or self-awareness. They don't want to take over the world. They simply process data and generate outputs based on their programming. Regulatory oversight. Governments and regulatory bodies around the world are increasingly implementing regulations and standards to ensure that AI systems are used responsibly and ethically. Ethical AI development. Many AI researchers and organizations are actively working on the safe and ethical development of AI. This includes research into AI safety, bias, transparency, and the potential future development of artificial general intelligence, AGI. It is important to continue monitoring and regulating the development of AI, as well as educating the public about what AI can and can't do. As of now and the foreseeable future, the idea of AI taking over the world is more science fiction than reality. Another widely held belief is that AI will replace all human jobs. While it's true that AI is automating certain tasks, particularly repetitive ones, it's also creating new jobs and opening up fields we hadn't even imagined. Instead of replacing humans, in most cases, AI is actually augmenting our abilities, helping us do our jobs better and faster. The potential for AI to replace jobs has been a hot topic for several years. While it is true that AI and automation can and do replace certain tasks, it's also important to understand that AI won't replace all jobs for a few key reasons. For example, human touch and empathy. Many jobs require a level of human touch, empathy, or understanding that AI can't replicate. This includes jobs in fields like healthcare, social work, and education, where human empathy and interaction are crucial. AI can certainly aid in these fields, like AI diagnostic diseases in healthcare, but it can't replace the human connection. Complex decision making. While AI is great at identifying patterns and making predictions based on data, it's less effective at making complex decisions that require a deep understanding of the context, nuances, and long-term implications. These are areas where human judgment and experience still have the upper hand. Creativity and innovation. AI can generate new combinations of existing ideas, but it's not capable of true creativity or innovation. It doesn't have the ability to have original ideas, to think outside of the box, or to come up with novel solutions to problems. Jobs that require a high level of creativity, like artists, authors, or inventors, aren't likely to be replaced by AI. Unpredictability and adaptability. The real world is often unpredictable, and tasks that seem simple to humans can be incredibly complex to automate. Humans are naturally adaptable and can navigate these complexibilities with ease. For example, a plumber might have to deal with an unusual plumbing arrangement, or a teacher might have to adapt their lesson plan on the fly when it's not working. AI struggles in these unpredictable and non-routine situations. AI creates new jobs. While AI might automate some tasks, it also creates new jobs that didn't exist before. These range from the obvious ones like AI specialists to new industries and services enabled by AI technology. There are jobs where, for ethical, legal, or social reasons, we might not want AI to replace humans. For instance, while an AI might be capable of acting as a judge, we may prefer to have a human making those legal decisions because they can understand the human implication in a way that AI can't. While AI will undoubtedly continue to change the nature of work, it doesn't mean that all jobs will be automated. Instead, Work is likely to shift and adapt, with humans and AI working in tandem to complement each other's strengths. Then there is the myth that AI is infallible, that it's always right. Just because it's a machine doesn't mean it's perfect. AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, and it can and does make mistakes. Plus, it can also inherit our human biases if we're not careful about how we design and use it. The idea that AI is infallible or incapable of making mistakes is indeed a myth. While AI has the potential to significantly increase efficiency and accuracy in many tasks, it's not perfect and can still make mistakes or provide incorrect outputs. Here are a few reasons why. Garbage in, garbage out. This is a phrase used in computing to express the idea that poor quality input will always produce poor quality output. If an AI is trained on inaccurate or biased data, it will produce inaccurate or biased results. This can also happen if the data is unrepresentative of the real world scenarios that the AI will encounter. Overfitting. This is a common problem in machine learning, where a model performs well on the data it was trained on, but poorly on new, unseen data. This is because the model has essentially memorized the training data and is unable to generalize to new situations. Overfitted models are often overly complex and can generate incorrect or nonsensical output when presented with new data. Lack of common sense. Current AI systems lack what humans call common sense. They don't understand the world in the same way humans do. They don't have an inherent understanding of basic real-world facts or how the world works, which can lead to mistakes that a human would never make. AI is as good as its design. AI models are created by humans, and humans can make mistakes in the design or implementation of these models. These errors can lead to errors in AI output. Ethical and social bias. AI systems can unintentionally perpetuate existing social and ethical biases if they are presented in the data they are trained on. For example, an AI trained on hiring decisions from a company with a history of bias could learn to replicate that bias. Difficulty in interpreting context. AI systems, particularly those dealing with natural language processing or understanding, can struggle with understanding context, which can lead to incorrect or inappropriate responses. These are some of the reasons why AI is not infallible and can make mistakes. The goal of researchers and developers is to understand and mitigate these issues to create AI systems that are as accurate, fair, and useful as possible. However, it's important to always remember that, like any tool, AI is not perfect and should be used thoughtfully and responsibly. One term we hear now and then is the term hallucination, specifically those involving natural language processing and generation, like ChatGPT. Hallucination in the context of machine learning models, MLMs, refers to the phenomenon where the model generates information that wasn't in the input and isn't grounded in the training data. In other words, the model appears to imagine or hallucinate details. There are several reasons why a model might hallucinate. Data scarcity. If the model is trained on data that doesn't cover all possible scenarios it might encounter, it may hallucinate to fill in the gaps in its knowledge. Model complexity. More complex models, especially those with a large number of parameters, can sometimes be more prone to hallucinations as they may overfit to their training data and struggle to generalize accurately to new inputs. Bias in the training data. If the training data contains biases or systemic errors, the model may learn these biases and reproduce them in its output. Insufficient context. If a model is given insufficient context to make an accurate prediction, it might hallucinate details to make up for the lack of information. Researchers are currently working on methods to reduce hallucination in MLMs. One approach is to improve the quality and diversity of the training data so the models has a more accurate understanding of the world. Another approach is to improve the way models are evaluated by using metrics that penalize hallucinations. Finally, some researchers are exploring ways to make models more transparent so it's easier to understand why they are making the predictions they do. This is a challenging problem, but a crucial one to solve, especially for applications where accuracy and reliability are critical. Finally, the idea that AI is only for big tech companies or that it's too complex to understand. Sure, it can get very technical, but at its core, AI is about mimicking human learning, a concept we're all familiar with. The key is for small businesses and organizations to understand what AI can and can't do, and to seek advice and education to ensure they're using AI in the way that benefits their particular needs. Hi, this is Pixelpia from the editing table. I just realized how very long this episode is becoming. So I decided to end it right here. We have talked about the history of AI, how we use AI today, and also some misconceptions. But there are still so many more things I want to talk about. So this will be a 2-part series. And in my next episode, I will talk about concerns when it comes to the use of AI and what can be done to try and avoid mistakes. And I will also talk a little bit about the future of AI. And let's end this series with a look at some of the cases where AI have ended up in the courtroom. So if that is something you are interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified. And I will hopefully see you back here next week. Until then, bye.